Leak season is always fun, but as we've touched on a few times, it's kind of crazy to consider that we have so much information out there about Modern Warfare 4 and the Call of Duty project coming next year, when minimal is still known about this upcoming year's content with Black Ops 7. But that leapfrogging continues today as we've got information from data miners about weapon listings for Modern Warfare 4. Not like 1 or 2 weapons, but the full 43 weapons planned and in the works as it stands today. Today's details come from Reality UK and Vondi is Pog, but a few things to bear in mind when it comes to these kind of conversations. The biggest, we're still a year plus out from when these things are supposed to launch, so they're very likely subject to change. Some weapons may not make it past the cutting room floor, some may be initial DLC weapons, outwards of like Season 1 and 2, but also there's other implications for each of these which we'll touch on further into the video. But that said, drop your thoughts, drop a like, subscribe for more, and hey, if you want to join in on the conversation live, we're live on Twitch regularly again, that I'd love to chat with you. Link down below. But anyways, let's get into these weapons. So let's just dive into it. The weapon listing, the assault rifles, we have the AK-103, the Daewoo K2, the H&K HK-473, the Colt Model 933, and the SAR-21. Battle rifles, we have listed the Shack-12, the Barrett REC-10, the OTS RM-277, the Ultimax 100 Mark III, and the Galil Ace. Submachine guns, we have listed the H&K MP7, the PM63 Rack, the PPSH-41, the Strybog SP9A1, and the Chris Vector. Shotguns, we have listed the Winchester Model 1887 and the Benelli M3. Light machine guns, you have the Daewoo K3, the Knights Armament LAMG, Sig Sauer MG338, the Type 73 LMG, and the M160, which was a scrapped railgun from Advanced Warfare. For marksman rifles, we have the Crossbow, the FN-FAL, the H&K G28, and the Mosin Nagant. Sniper rifles, we have the Japar GM6 Lynx, the Sauer & Sons 100, and the Izmash SV98. For your handguns, we have listed the Desert Eagle, the Glock 17, H&K HK45, the Daewoo K5, the Sig Sauer P220, the S&W Model 500, and the Ruger Security 9. And your launchers, you have the FGM 148 Javelin, the Carl Gustav M4, the Milcor MGL, the RPG-7, the RPG-18, and the GM94, and finally, the Riot Shield. So first thing I want to note is the variety of weapons. It's an interesting list for one because it's short on things like rifles and shotguns compared to most other games, while seemingly being heavy on others like handguns and the absence of like a knife or anything like that. So it's an interesting list that I don't think may be very well completed just yet, and that makes sense because again, we're a year and a half away from this game launching. But it is interesting because we have a mix of a lot of classics and some few futuristic ones, i.e. that railgun from Advanced Warfare. I'm curious to see what sticks and what either does not, or if more are added. I mean, in that sense, it comes down to setting for me in a lot of situations. As we talked about, this is the first time we'll have a direct canonical crossover to deal with in Modern Warfare 4. Pending no universal divergence, Modern Warfare 4 likely set in 2026 if it follows any of the past Modern Warfare titles since 2019, Modern Warfare 2019 being set in 2019, MW2 being set in 2022, launching that same year as well, and Modern Warfare 3 launching in 2023, being set in 2023. So pending no changes here with this, it'll be following 1 year after the events of Black Ops 2. So it'll be curious to see how things work out, because I'm not saying the story being written is necessarily a clean one, merging two totally different global conflicts after the events of Black Ops 2 with what will be Modern Warfare in 2026. But it's also not going to be something that I expect to not be sloppy, if that makes sense. Like, there's gonna be some stuff that probably doesn't make a whole ton of sense. So how much they include those drones or higher tech things we saw in Black Ops 2, we don't quite know, but weaponry could be up in that discussion as well. Now, in relation to total number of weapons we see at launch for other games, where does this really line up? Just by naming off all of those, I felt like I was saying a lot of weapons. Maybe it felt like it was a long list, but does it actually stack up to other games in recent years? Well, let's take a look. Black Ops 6 launched with 33 weapons. Modern Warfare 3, 37 weapons at launch. Modern Warfare 2 had a staggering 55 weapons at launch. Vanguard had 38, Cold War had 29, and Modern Warfare 2019 had 40 at launch. So the list of 43 that we have right now for Modern Warfare 4 is actually up there. So as much as I disagree with a lot of the core principles of gameplay enacted from the last few titles from Infinity Ward, I will say they are consistently showing up in recent years' offerings for the most variety and options for weapons, being not only the only studio to show up with 40 weapons in a title to date since 2019, but also doing it potentially 3 times over if this holds true. Now granted, we don't know Black Ops 7's launch weapon listing just yet, and maybe that's a bit premature to say it's only those 3 Modern Warfare titles, because maybe Black Ops 7 does that. But I will give it to them, weapon totals, they're holding strong through each of their Modern Warfare entries. Additionally, this also could be something that translates to a really solid grind for mastery grinders. That's a lot of stuff to do if we have 43 plus weapons. I mean, camos, well, you're probably going to have at least 2 camo grinds to work towards with multiplayer and Warzone camos. After this year's introduction of the Abyss camo and a Warzone camo grind, I don't see those systems regressing and going back in terms of offering that for a mastery. I don't think that we've had a year actually thinking about it since Black Ops 3 and the introduction of a mastery camo with Dark Matter that we saw a game not introduce that last sort of introduction and compounding effect on whatever it may be. Like, we had a mastery camo since then, and we've started to see other things introduced like zombies camos regularly, so I wouldn't be surprised if that is still something that also comes as a Warzone mastery camo this upcoming year and then in 2026. But you'll have at least 2 mastery grinds, probably not going to see something in like DMZ 2.0 or anything, but you'll have also weapon mastery itself, like completing challenges associated with each of those. Modern Warfare 2's was like kills with a certain mastery camo level equipped. And I think also Modern Warfare 3 was the same. You had 100 kills for gold, 200 for platinum, 300 for polyatomic, and 400 with Orion. That you had to get all of those camos, equip that camo, and then get those number of kills to get credit for that tier of mastery. And then once you did all of it, you got a mastery badge for it. And ultimately, you did that for everything, including things like the Javelin, which was 1,000 extra kills with the Javelin after getting Orion. Torture, right? But after you did all of those weapons, you got your Grand Mastery calling card and a weapon charm to go along with that. So you'll have that to deal with for 43 plus weapons, it seems like, also, which is kind of crazy. But I guess all things considered, what we have to keep in mind is that none of this is really guaranteed right now. It appears this is what is in the works as it stands right now, but we do have to be conscious of the fact that, again, there's a variety of different factors here. Some weapons may be for campaign use and included in this list that don't make it to multiplayer. Like Modern Warfare 2 had a launcher in the campaign called the REV G80 or Rev G80 that never made it to multiplayer. Some weapons may be reserved for Season 1 or Season 2 weapons. As crazy as it sounds to have weapons for DLC either created or drafted at the least for Season 1 and Season 2 of a game that's still 18 months away, it's still possible, and it still does happen. Anytime we see a listing for weaponry, like in, I want to say like April or May, when we see leaks like that, I always almost consider that we're going to have 4 of those weapons listed as a Season 1 weapons or beyond that. So it's very possible this could still be something like that. And also, some weapons just may get cut. That happens all the time in game dev. We have whole wiki pages sometimes dedicated to cut content, even in the COD space. Some weapons just might not perform as expected. They may not fit thematically, the gameplay, any number of reasons that could come up that would, say, cut it from the game from when it was planned to when it would not make launch. But that's the biggest thing. We are still 18 months away. So any number of these factors could impact what we see now versus what we see then. Frankly, when leaks like this happen so far out, I think it's important to just take it as like a reference, not necessarily fact. What I take away from this is that with a full dev cycle, once again, Infinity Ward appears to be leading the charge with quantity of weapons again. Even if some of those 43 weapons do not make it at launch, you take like half a dozen weapons off that list and you still have more weapons than Black Ops 6, Modern Warfare 3, and Cold War launched with. And hell, maybe even more get added to this list at that time because, as we mentioned, it seemed kind of light on assault rifles, was definitely light on shotguns, and was definitely light on melees because you didn't have any listed. So maybe we see a few more added by the time of launch, but we won't know until a lot closer to the game's launch, which is of course still very far away. What I take away is that quantity-wise, we should be in good hands with weaponry from Modern Warfare 4, and what that does not mean is anything to do in terms of gameplay. This isn't me being like, oh, I like the sound of how many guns there are in the game, so therefore, I'm very excited for multiplayer unequivocally. None of that. That's like, oh, you like pizza, so you must hate cheeseburgers nonsense. That is 2 entirely different things that, outside of being pizza and cheeseburgers, the only thing that those share is being food. Same thing with this. The only thing being the same is multiplayer experience in COD. Face value, that's what we have, and it looks like we should hopefully have another large offering for players who choose to jump in Modern Warfare 4 later next year, but again, won't know for quite some time. So let me know your thoughts down below. Do you like the sound of these weapons? Do you hope that these come into the game with Modern Warfare 4 next year? Or is there any weapon you hope to see that wasn't on this list? feel free to let me know. But if you guys enjoyed the video, if you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing running all things Modern Warfare 4 and much more FPS content, including, Black Ops 7 coming before Modern Warfare 4. I'd love to have you guys in the community. For now, though, thanks so much for watching. Modest Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care, and peace.